I mean, here's I wanna use a great quote.
Before Big Rube, before you give me the quote, I got Hakeem that's listening to us in New Jersey. Hakeem is one of our longtime listeners. We appreciate your support, Hak. Hakeem says he's asking, is federal money even a big part of educational funding? I don't know the numbers nationally, but in cities such as Newark, New Jersey, federal funding is about 20% of the budget. Most of the funding comes from the city and then the state. We don't even learn how to think in college, he continues in another post. We don't even learn how to think in college, always taught what to think, not how. You can't have civil organized society with free thinkers running around, but that's probably a deeper conversation for another day. I certainly agree with Hakeem on this one. As far as his point on the federal money versus the state money, I can't speak to that. I don't live in New Jersey any longer. But as far as college, I could definitely speak to that, because they make sure that they filter in what they want you to think. And unless you're someone who can think above what you're being spoon-fed, you're going to be somebody that's going to toe the line and do exactly what they want you to do. And we all run around like toy soldiers, and that's a problem. Big Rube, correct. Continue with your point.
I'm a say this I guess is a phrase, but something that everybody should know was said by probably one of the most influential people of all time. I almost had it, but I'll come back to it. I think Whitney Houston said it best. The children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. My question to you is, what children is she talking about? Because the way we got going now with a standardized test every year, I mean, I don't know what future we gonna have because they don't know anything. Because these kids are, I feel, and this is a personal opinion, I feel that these children are taught, like you said, to test, not to learn, not to create knowledge of their own. So I need to know what children is Whitney talking about. And I think back then she was probably talking about us. But now I don't know who she's talking about, because let's just be honest about it. Unless you're in a public school that does very well, I don't think she's talking about y'all, because it's difficult. Me not being in school there, I can't say, but from everything I've gathered, it's just like the kids are just there. It's almost like they're zombies. They're being force-fed a little bit of brain every day, and hopefully in May and June, the brain comes out and goes on a test score, and hopefully they pass. To me, I understand taking a test maybe every 5 years, and in your senior year, I feel like you should do like they do in college, and you have to take an essay, because you have to be able to read and write.
So you would have a third, fourth grader doing an essay?
No. I'm saying, like, you take your SOL in 4th grade, you take an SOL in like 9th grade, and before you can graduate, you gotta do an essay. You gotta go take an essay. Do an essay, right there, like they do at Old Dominion. We had to pass an essay before we could graduate.
What's that word? What is it they make them write in college? What is that called?
A thesis.
A thesis, yeah.
Well, that's for if you're going for your grad school and stuff like that. If you're going for a master's,
right?
But at Old Dominion, I can only speak for Old Dominion because that's the only place I've been. In order for us to pass, we had to take a writing essay in order for us to graduate. And I know college people, who failed it like 3 and 4 times. How do you fail writing an essay? Easy. They give you the information, and all you gotta do is regurgitate it on like 5 pieces of paper.
But a lot of people don't know how to. The reading comprehension is a problem. People don't comprehend the things that they read. And then the other thing is people have problems oftentimes with translating their thoughts down to paper. Very articulate people that can speak well, people that can hold a room, have great oratory skills, but if you ask them to translate those skills to a computer or a pen and paper, they can't do it. So to me, that's part of the problem with standardized testing, because some people don't test well.
I don't. I'm not a test well guy.
Some people don't test well. Some people are intimidated by the process of testing. You tell me on, and we'll just use this month as an example. You tell me on June 1st, all right, Marcus J, at 8:40 on June 19th, we're going to have you take this test on everything that you learned between June 1st and 14th. And you got from the 15th to the 19th at 8:40 to actually regurgitate that information. Yep. There are some people that get so freaked out by that they're unable to perform. Does that mean, and when I say people, I don't just mean college students or high schoolers. Yeah. I'm talking about the children, because that's what we're talking about. Does that mean that their intelligence level is not on par with the other children?
No.
And that's where you lose me with having standardized testing being part of it. But again, we all know what it's about. It's about a paper chase.
Yeah.
Because again, like I said, Mrs. J is an educator, and I listened to her talk about this. What if you got that jackass kid that just don't pay attention? I mean, we all know who that kid is. We were in that class. Hell, you know, Judge Judy always said that every three people is a jackass. So one of us, three of us is a jackass, kind of make the point. You and I are pointing at Carlton. So I'm pointing at Carlton, I guess it's Carlton. But in all seriousness, so that basically means if you got a class of 30, you got 10 jackasses in there that can't pass the test. You know, and of that 10, maybe 5 of them ain't smart, and the other 5 just they jackasses.
Yeah.
So you got a third of your class that just failed.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, and I could be wrong. I wish somebody would call in or hit us on the Facebook or whatever. But if I'm correct, they take these SOL tests at least 5 times. You know, in their schooling career, 5 times a test, and then if you fail it, that's not a good day for you. You know, you could go back. You could drop straight A's and fail the SOL and go back and repeat. I mean, to me, I don't think it should be all or nothing, but I think the fact that we have to give so many standardized tests in one kid's career is incredible. It is incredibly horrible. You know, and you can sit here and say, well, private school kids learn better because, you know, they have individual teaching or whatever. When it all comes down to it, kids will learn if they want to learn. However, that's just like saying, hey, if you touch this table 3 times, I'm going to smack you. You got some people who will touch it 3 times just to see if they're going to smack you. You know, and my thing is, we have to find a different way to educate our kids, because testing is not the number one way to educate our children. And to me, that's terrible.
Well, the hard part is people like you and I agree with that, and I think Carlton agrees with us as well. But we're not the educators. We're not the people making the decisions. So how do we make that point? You know how we do it? By showing up to the
school board meetings,
by showing up to the PTAs and things of that sort. Because if you go to certain neighborhoods, you'll find that the attendance is down. If you go to other neighborhoods, you'll find that the attendance is up. Now, oftentimes you get people who want to complain about the lack of facilities and about the lack of attention that's paid to their schools, because the other schools are getting more money and they're getting more attention. Oftentimes, if you look at those same schools and you look at the Parent-Teacher Association and you look at the school board participation, you look and you see who's showing up. The people that are getting the money are showing up.
Correct.
The people who are not getting the money are not showing up. Now, there are a lot of things that go into that. You can argue that the soccer moms who don't work, they're home, so they can go to those meetings in certain neighborhoods.
But you know,
make that argument versus another, where you got single moms who work all the time, who don't have the ability to go to meetings. But there has to be some sort of balance. It's for the kids, man.
Yeah, but why do we sit here? I mean, the PTA is a problem. Well, I'm not going to say the problem, but PTA timing. Hey, Monday through Thursday at 7 to 9 p.m. Man, when I get home at 6 o'clock, the last thing I want to hear, I want to go to a PTA meeting. How about you have that Sunday at 4? You know what? Most people don't work Sunday. And most people ain't working at 4 o'clock on Sunday. So, if you really want to test out the turnout, Sunday at 4. Because people go to church, people eat, You got some who watch football, and if you watch the Redskins, they're usually at 1 o'clock.
And that game will be over quickly.
And then you go to the PTA meeting on 4, and I will almost guarantee that you have a better turnout Sunday at 4 than you will have at Wednesday at 7. Because nobody wants to be there, and who cares at that point? It's just like, teachers don't want to be there because it's just like, I got to stay all day for this, yada, yada, yada. And instead of making it like some stuffy meeting, why don't you do it in cool spots? Why don't you have refreshments? I mean, you got, if you want the parents to come, you have to accommodate the parents. If you don't want the parents to come, you do it at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night.
The only thing that I'll say to that, though, and I'm going to go ahead and take the last one on this because we got to take a break.
Yep.
Is the thing that should be driving those parents is their children's education. And I agree with you that they should try to make it a little bit more ideal for the parents to be able to be there and accommodate schedules and things of that sort. But at the end of the day, it's got to be about the kids. And I make sacrifices for me to do things with Mama J. Carlton Banks makes sacrifices for him to be with Lil Banks. Ruben, you'll do the same thing when you have children. That's just what you do. So while I agree that you make, sacrifices and or let me rephrase. While I agree that you try to make it simpler, you also gotta go ahead and make sure that you do what you gotta do to be there for your kid. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. We need to take a break. We're gonna get into our rants and our closings, and when we do that, in the next segment, we're gonna hear some stuff that is really gonna get you riled up, like we do every single week. So that's it. Marcus J. Ain't no half stepping. We'll be back in a minute.